always a thrill. I always say wherever Pope Francis is, there I want to be. He's a wonderful, wonderful pastor. And he gives me inspiration. He inspires me. I look to him and his speeches, his talks, his example, and it helps to form my own ministry in the Archdiocese of Santa Fe. So I'm just delighted to be here. It's a thrill to be here, and I know I'll see him in the distance, but I think it underscores the fact that in our country, the United States, that we have a failed immigration system. So I think the Pope's visit clearly is intended to underscore his love for people, that he cares about people. And this is not just us, this is the whole world. The Pope, one of his first gestures as Pope was to go to Lampedusa and to mourn the loss of the countless thousands who died in the Mediterranean. And also I think our presence there represents our desire to have a really effective, harmonious relationship with Mexico and with our border, and so that we can have better comprehensive immigration reform that would allow people to come and go securely, safely, without dying in the desert. And our two countries can work out accords that would be far better for people than we have right now. The Syrian refugee crisis. He's constantly, his speech to the diplomatic corps this year, and which is considered probably his most important international speech, spoke about the importance of immigration and how we need to help our immigrants. So the Pope sees this through the lens of the gospel. These are people who are suffering. These are people who are really refugees. They're fleeing from violence, from kidnappings, death, the scourge of the drug cartels, the gangs, the organized crime. And so the Pope is reaching out to them and saying we need to address that terrible issue. Well, that's been one of the great tragedies of our broken immigration system, is that families are fractured, that they've been pulled apart, and as you know, because of the system, it could be sometimes over 20 years before families are able to come back together again. And this is something that the Pope has inveighed against consistently, the importance of the family, the importance of the person, the human dignity of a person. These are issues that we can't ignore. And sadly, our immigration issues often get politicized, and we forget about the moral and human dimension, that these are real people that we're talking. They're not just political chips, these are real people. And so I think the Pope wants to raise up an awareness of it. Well, I think Pope Francis's visit to this community and to the Southwest in general is helpful because it's out of the ordinary. It's something that, you know, could be, who knows, decades before the Pope comes this close to us. It gets us out of our usual routine. And the Pope speaks against this globalization of indifference. And I think that's what might help us in the Southwest to say we are connected in our world. We're not just isolated here. We need to care about our fellow human beings. And I think that's what the Pope's visit can do. It can help us to have a deeper appreciation of what can I do personally, how can I take a different approach, instead of just, you know, condemning a wide range of people as, you know, they're not legal, is what the language is used, they're not documented. Could I look at them with fresh eyes and a new heart and say, no, these are my fellow human beings, and they're suffering. What can we do to help? The United States is a great country. We've been known for our help of children and our help of people in distress and taking them into these shores. And I hope we can continue that history and not turn our backs on these people who need us. And frankly, who are doing wonderful things for us in in terms of our service industries and construction and farming, etc. The Pope speaks about the globalization of indifference. There's 60 million people in our world today who are displaced and who are outside their homes looking for a place to live, to be. And so the Pope is trying to call attention to that. So I think for us in New Mexico, his visit's going to, I hope, will really trigger some of these reflections. What do we need to be aware of? Because we can get insulated. It's very easy to get insulated. And so I think what his visit will do is to kind of broaden our horizons and help us to think more about immigrants in particular.